Hi and welcome to PN Snapshot. I'm Ollie Terry.
And I'm Chaewon Moon.
And we are researchers at the Seoul-based think tank Peace Network.
Today we are going to try something new that we decided to introduce some key English words that often appear in articles. Personally, I found it very difficult to translate from English to Korean, Korean to English when it comes to like specific terminologies. So I hope you find it very helpful.
Yeah, I think this would be particularly good for students who are majoring in politics or a subject related to that. Maybe people who work in this field, or maybe people who are just generally interested in English and keep up with the news, particularly political or security news. Okay, so I saw this sentence in an article online this morning. I think it was on Yonhap News. So I'm going to read you a sentence here. US Vice President Mike Pence said the United States will stand firm on North Korea over its nuclear weapons program. Stand firm. What does this mean? Stand firm.
In Korean, it means 강경한 자세를 취하다. 그래서 예를 들면 미국이 북한의 핵 프로그램에 대해서 강경한 자세를 취했다라고 할 때 stand firm 이란 단어를 사용할 수 있습니다.
It means that you maintain your strong position, strong beliefs, strong ideology. You don't change them just because you're under pressure or the situation is a little bit tense. I'll give you another example. President Moon Jae-in has promised to stand firm on his policy of pursuing peace talks with North Korea.
Against the backdrop of the global slump, which has been on for over a decade now, such brinkmanship by the US will do no good to the prospect of a possible recovery of the global economy. brinkmanship은 벼랑 끝 전술이라고 해석될 수 있는데요. 정말 위험한 상황 직전까지 가는 그런 위태로운 상황을 이야기합니다.
The brink means the edge. Like the final limit of something. So if you push something to the brink, if you practice this brinkmanship policy, you're pushing something to the edge of emergency or disaster or war to create some sort of crisis, so you might get talks or something. It's often used to describe North Korea's policy of creating an emergency and then diffusing it and using that as a chance to talk and try and get a deal. Okay, to dent. If you're driving your car and you hit into another car, your car might be left with a dent. It's like a small hole, but it can also be used to describe something being reduced or decreased. So for example, I saw this sentence in an article earlier this morning. North Korea's recent missile launch dented hopes of improved relations with the US. What does this mean in Korean?
한국말로는 손상시키다, 흠집을 내다 라고 번역할 수 있을 텐데요. 올리가 예를 들었던 그 문장을 살펴보면 북한의 최근 미사일 발사를 한 것 때문에 미국과의 관계가 손상됐다, 흠집이 났다 라고 표현할 수 있습니다.
So recently, I think it was yesterday, the US seized a North Korean cargo ship. So that event could dent hopes of improved relations between Washington and Pyongyang.
Mr. Trump has repeatedly described the moratorium as his biggest achievement on North Korea. 여기서 moratorium은 일시적인 정지, 유예 등을 뜻하는데요. 트럼프 대통령이 북한의 김정은 위원장이 미사일 발사를 일시 정지한 것 또는 유예한 것만으로도 큰 미국의 성과이다 라고 표현할 때 moratorium, 일시적 정지, 유예라고 표현할 수 있습니다.
It's often used to describe North Korea temporarily shutting down their nuclear weapons program, like a nuclear freeze, a temporary inaction, temporarily stopping something. To beef up. What a strange sounding expression. What does this mean? 올라가는 소고기?
Oh, stop, please.
Okay, so I saw this headline, I think it was on Yonhap earlier this week. It said, South Korea vows to beef up missile defense system against North Korean threats. Beef up missile defense system. What on earth does this mean? Beef up.
Beef up은 강화하다라는 뜻인데요. 대한민국이 북한에 대해서 미사일 디펜스, 그러니까 미사일 방어 체제를 강화했다 또는 군비를 강화했다라고 할 때 사용할 수 있습니다.
In this case, beef is like your strength, your power. So to beef up means strengthen, improve, reinforce. I thought of another example. from the UK, and Brexit is the main news story right now. So you might say something like the UK chose Brexit to beef up its border security or its national security.
The militarization of space prompts fears that Washington might be seeking to try and attempt a preemptive strike on its adversaries. Preemptive strike는 선제 공격이라고 번역을 할 수 있는데요. 어느 나라가 다른 나라에 대해서 선제 공격을 감행했다라고 하면 preemptive strike 아니면 preemptive action을 사용할 수 있습니다.
This is, as you explained, it's the idea of a country attacking their enemy before their enemy can attack them. So if they think their enemy is planning an attack, they might attack them first to stop their planned attack. This word became this expression became a sort of buzzword around 2003 in the aftermath of the terror attacks on 9/11. The US responded with the war on terror, and George W. Bush, the then president, said they would consider preemptive strikes against enemy nations. Okay, so I saw this sentence in an article, I think last week. North Korea fired short-range missiles into the East Sea on Thursday in apparent protest over stalled denuclearization negotiations. What does this mean? It's a very commonly used expression at the moment, stalled.
Especially these days, 그러니까 특히 요즘 많이 쓰이는 단어인데요. stalled는 일시에 중단된 또는 교착 상태의를 뜻합니다. 그래서 미국과 북한의 회담이 하노이 회담 이후, 제2차 북미 정상회담 이후 교착 상태이다 라고 하면 stalled negotiation, stalled talk이라고 사용할 수 있습니다.
It just means not active, paused, not progressing, etc.
Sanamdong Research Center is a facility known to be associated with the manufacture of large diameter rockets in North Korea, including ballistic missiles and space launch vehicles. 여기서 ballistic missile은 탄도 미사일을 뜻하고요. space launch vehicle은 우주 발사체를 뜻합니다. 얼마 전에 북한이 어떤 미사일인지 발사체인지를 이제 쏘아 올려가지고 상당히 이슈가 되었잖아요. 여기서 미사일과 우주 발사체는 다르기 때문에 탄도 미사일은 ballistic missile. For example, ICBM, Intercontinental Ballistic Missile은 대륙간 탄도 미사일이죠. 이런 것과 Space Launch Vehicle, 우주 발사체는 아예 결을 달리하는 단어이기 때문에 구분해서 사용해 주셔야 됩니다.
Especially ballistic missile, you'll see in reports nearly every week or every month related to North Korea, and that's been the case for the last 3, 4, 5 years.
Yes.
So very common expression.
Yeah, and it's mostly related to very aggressive actions rather than space launch vehicle is more like satellite.
Sidelined. Okay, I saw a headline, I think it was on Yonhap or the BBC this morning, and it said, North Korea's sidelined human rights crisis. North Korea's sidelined human rights crisis. What on earth does that mean, sidelined? If someone or some issue has been sidelined, it means?
올리가 제스처로도 보여줬듯이 sidelined 하면 약간 밀려난 느낌이 있죠. 그래서 sidelined 하면 장외로 밀려난, 소외된 이라고 사용을 하는데 예를 들면 Abe is worried about being sidelined in the efforts to denuclearize North Korea. 아베 총리가 이제 북한 비핵화 문제에 있어서 sideline, 장외로 밀려나는 것을 좀 걱정을 한다. 그래서 재팬 패싱 이런 것과도 관련이 될 수 있죠.
Good. I can give you another example. Putin was sidelined during a recent GA meeting. So if Putin is not included in the main discussion or the main activity, what it is, he's kind of pushed to the sides, pushed to the exterior. So it means you're not playing an active part in some sort of process. You're kind of pushed to the outside, pushed to the shadows. You can think about sports for this word, sideline. So if you're one of the main players, if you're active, you're in the pitch. If you're sidelined, you're not playing. So you're not playing any active part. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this different format. If you did, please give us a like and a comment, and we may be able to continue doing this on a regular basis. And hope it was useful.
Thank you. Bye.